start every show like that. Everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa. You just heard Antidote from the metal powerhouse Tara-Lynch, also known as Gui-Tara. See, that makes sense. And
she'd run with her guitar.
I mean, can't she just run for president? I don't know, but like she's like a power storm, and I don't know. I think that would be really cool to have, like, you know, hey, this is how we're going to deal with international relations.
She could be the Speaker of the House.
I know, like here it is.
Like whip it into order.
I know.
Here's what you're doing.
Hey, she's got her brand new album out now, Friday the 13th is when it comes out, because the album is called Evil Enough, and Friday the 13th here in April 2018 is when it comes out. Tomorrow, very cool. Go to her website, tara-lynch.com. Gui-Tara, welcome. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I know that you prefer playing guitar than running politics, right?
You're absolutely correct. Politics would be the last thing I'd ever want to deal with.
I know.
Let's talk about evil.
I know, but Evil Enough. Listen, this album, just the power in your playing is insane. I mean, there's no words for it. It's just, you're crazy, like crazy good. And it's like watching you, and I was watching the video for Antidote. Nancy and I were like, okay, and here's this metal powerhouse woman just kicking ass on stage, playing, singing. I mean, your voice on top of the guitar and doing both at the same time. I'm like, dude, I need a cocktail already. But then you've got Marilyn Monroe in the video, and I'm like, what would Marilyn say? Like, think about it. What would you ever want to sit down with Marilyn Monroe?
That would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be fantastic. She was a really exceptional and interesting human being. She had a very tragic situation, of course, but she left quite an imprint on all of us, and I found her to be the perfect muse when I came up with the concept for this video, because she had a situation in her life with her ex-husband, Joe DiMaggio, that is sort of parallel to my situation that I've experienced in my life. So there was nobody else that was more fitting than Marilyn to help me tell the story of Antidote.
Awesome. That's, not awesome in that people go through this, but you just wouldn't even think that in rock. You know what I mean? People just kind of always like, okay, well, this genre and this era stay here. But you, to me, cross lines in music, and listening to the lyrics and the stories behind it, it just seems like this, like, standing up as a woman. That's
definitely
me, listening to the album. I'm like, you're standing up, and Evil Enough to me is like, hey, I can play too. Like I am. Like, you talk about gaining confidence in the songs. There's a lot of that. I feel like it's like, hey, we're going to stand up and do this. Like Banished from My Kingdom, to me, that song was like, hey, don't mess with me now. I love that.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I every song on my album is born out of my personal experience, and I'm definitely a don't mess with me kind of girl. And if you do, well, I just might write a song about you.
Oh, good. Yeah. Awesome. Well, listen, no, you're not like Taylor Swift in that way. But I know.
No. First of all, I don't name names.
Yeah, that's different. And listen, there's like, I'd like to see her like do a guitar duet with you. That would be interesting. That would be fun.
Funny.
Oh my goodness, that would be very interesting. I think she's an incredibly talented and beautiful young lady.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if one day she turned around and tried metal. I would never. It wouldn't put it past her.
But I would like to see you with Janis Joplin.
Yeah, I agree, because you have that power of vocally and guitar work wise. How do you do the two together? Because your voice is really, really powerful and good, and like I want to see you, like, I don't know, like Antidote to me should be in the movies. Like, I see that being this epic moment of a movie.
Wow.
I could write a movie to that.
I know, right? All these visual things happen. I didn't have Marilyn Monroe in my visuals, but like I see like
No.
I don't know, buses burning and stuff, and like at the end of like an action movie. I don't know why I have a bus burning, but it is
I don't
there.
know, but there's a thing that happens in England, Guy Fawkes Night, where they blow up Parliament, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah,
right
you
there.
got the bonfire. You could have the bonfire classic, but yeah, I mean, how do you balance all this? Because to me, this is like Nancy always wants to put people in rock operas and have them do it, but like now we have a metal rock opera going because your whole album feels like this should be on stage, and I'm seeing more and more women have these albums that flow and rock hard, and we can say like, hey, we could do this on stage as a production.
Well, that's definitely not out of the question in the future.
Cool.
It's something I've thought about, and could very well happen later on down the road.
That'd be so cool.
I like that. So, but the singing and the playing at the same time, like seriously, how?
What's really interesting is when I first started writing for this record, I did not intend to sing on it myself, and well, because I write all the songs, all the words and music are written by me. So when I write my music, I sit and I write. I record straight from my brain to the machine because I don't literally write music on paper. So I just play it straight in and record it. That's how I write. And so I record all of the instruments because I can play them all. And the drums I program, though, because I don't have those mic'd. But anyway, I record them all in, and then I record, if it has a vocal, I record a demo vocal just so I can give it to who I'm going to have do the vocals. And so I had Mark Bowles, a good friend of mine, an amazing singer. He used to perform with Yngwie Malmsteen, and you can see him in Vegas these days in the Rock Vault show. I had him sing 2 tracks, the first 2 vocal tracks that we recorded. And when it came around to doing the third one, my drummer, Vinny Appice, heard my vocal on the demo and absolutely like ambushed me at the recording studio. And then Phil Soussan and Brent Woods, they all basically ganged up on me and said, "Are you kidding me? You've got to do the vocals.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Nobody else sings on this record. You're doing them all. You're doing the rest, Cool. So I thought I was being punked, but they were for real, and they wouldn't let it go. So I said, okay. So there it is.
Your voice is so powerful, and the dynamics of it, and it adds this. There's a difference to it about having a woman sing this kind of power rock. To me, there's this. Because it always goes between light and dark with this kind of music, right? There's always that flicker between both, and I think that the woman's edge can go either way. We're good at both sides, and then Cringeworthy, that song, like you get into this angelic field to me, like your voice, and it goes from this power rocker to it's angelic.
Well, here's where I'd really like to give credit to my producer, Brent Woods, who said to me one day, you don't have a slow song on this record. Bring me a slow song. Bring me something, a little more gentle and a more gentle vocal. So I went home and I wrote Cringeworthy and brought that back. And it was at his, suggestion for me to do a track like that, because I never thought, I'm going to use an acoustic guitar on this record or anything like that. I was just wanting to go heavy, heavy, heavy. And he talked me into writing a song like that. So I brought that in, and he was like, and there it is, So that's how that came to be as well.
And it's bendy. Your notes are bendy. There's
like that's how life is.
I love it when I have my own words of how guitar licks sound, and so it just has this roundness to it, and yet it still has an edge. And I think when you are able to do that, it's so cool. When you put this together, let's talk about Evil Enough. That's your very first track, your signature song. And I want to talk about the album cover, because to me this is where it also gets into that visual craziness of where I want to see a whole movie with this, or a theater production, because it just, you have this vibe with it. The cover art is crazy, but Evil Enough, what was it? Did you think Evil Enough throughout? This is going to be the album? How did that whole part come together?
Oh, absolutely. When I started writing the record, I absolutely decided on the title "Evil Enough" because that's actually a phrase that was used to describe me all too often by an ex. And I thought it was very fitting since this whole album revolves around my past relationships and such. So, am I evil enough to throw everybody under the bus and tell my story exactly the way it happened? Yes, I am. So here it is.
Wow. Well, I didn't see. Now, I wouldn't classify that as evil. I would classify that as great strength.
Yeah. Well, evil it depends on how you look at it. That's absolutely true. I don't, but some people would say that, listen, I have songs on this album that you can obviously tell my husband, cheated on me. That's a no-brainer when you hear Trustless, for example. And, I've got a line in it that says, you don't treat me like a wife, just a children's mother,
Wow.
I got stories.
I know.
I got stories.
I know.
We could swap.
And then, but you know what's crazy? It's like, here's the album, and here's this, like, drama, but then she turned around and got the most beautiful smile. Like, look at all her photos and everything, videos, and she's, like, smiling.
But you can't kill joy.
You
can't.
The revenge part is like, check me out now, dude.
Yeah,
First of all,
check it out.
I'm happy. I look better. I have more money, and screw you.
Yeah.
Well,
smiling and being happy is the thing to me that is when joy is like you're doing something you really love.
That's
so
what it is.
I just want to say this because basically you stole your brother's guitar, right, to get playing and going, and now
I did. Well, I stole it at first, but then he gave it to me.
That's awesome.
Good
brother.
Does he still play?
He does, yeah.
Cool.
He does.
Excellent.
He's about 6 years. He's 5.5 years older than me, and he, basically threatened to kill me if I ever touched his guitar because I was so much younger, and he was afraid I was going to break it. So I would just steal it out of his room when he left the house, and I would, play with it. And I got caught in the act one day, and I thought I was going to get, beaten down for it, but instead he was just standing there in shock, going, "How did you learn to play like that?" And then he's like, "The heck with it, it's yours," and he just went and got himself another one.
That's awesome.
That's really
so playing,
nice.
I mean, did you learn to play by ear predominantly?
Totally.
I know you self-taught in the beginning. Don't you think that sometimes really helps you grow because you can do just about anything once you've learned that skill of listening and being able to channel it? Because you become a channeler.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm very often asked, did you have lessons or anything like that? Do you wish you had lessons? Because anyone that knows me already knows that I'm totally self-taught. And yes, I play by ear, and no, I can't read music, and no, I didn't have lessons. Later on in the years, after I was already playing well enough, I've studied with great people, and picked up interesting information and tips and tricks. But really, no, I'm totally self-taught, and I don't certainly regret that I never took lessons, because I really think that my style of playing comes completely from my heart, my passion, my soul. I mean, there's no methodical thought process. There's no what's considered right and wrong in a classroom process. There's none of that. It's just purely, this is what you get out of me.
I love that.
How would you write all that down anyway?
Yeah,
I mean people do. People do. They look what Beethoven did.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And he was deaf. So I mean, where was? I mean, that's the most amazing person to me, because how do you hear it inside your head and write it down for others to play it, but you can't really hear them.
Well, now, especially now, none of us can write anything anymore because of phones. Now, can you imagine us trying to handwrite music? Could you imagine with those quills? I
can't imagine.
I mean, I love classical music, but it's so
I'd stab myself with a quill. I'd be like, enough of this. But now, how do you remember everything? I mean, how do you record and share it with others that how do you do that? Because I know
the same way you remember your children. Every one of these songs I wrote completely, the words and the music. I gave birth to it. How do you forget your kids? You don't.
Yeah.
That's true.
I can't. She's sitting right here.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Nancy. That's it. I know. I know. Well, that's
funny.
you know what I did. We both had musical backgrounds and doing band stuff and everything. And I remember it was the only time I didn't forget songs when I owned the song. Like I had to learn the lyrics, and I had to learn the lyrics. But it was if it was my own, I had no problem.
Right.
And then it was like really about learning the story and attaching yourself to the story. And then once you did that, it really didn't matter. Then there was this freedom that happened.
And that's exactly why every song I write is a personal story. You don't forget how to tell your own personal experiences.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If I wrote about, fantastical things like some people do in metal, they write amazing stories about war and, fantasies and dragons and wizards and things like that. I don't know that I would remember all of that stuff, because if I decided if I was going to make a record finally, it was going to be my diary, basically.
But I think that's what writers do. If that's where their heart and soul is their personal story, how they imagine things, how they see things, which is different for everybody.
And it's integrity too. Like there's an integrity of honesty, and I find that with your music, you're very straight up honest. There's no BSing around with it. Now the album cover, because that's some craziness. That's
crazy.
Like it we're in the desert here in the 90 degrees. Like I'm feeling like that's a little hotter than us, like quite a bit. Who did the cover? It's cool. It's really good. And I love that where you're standing up top, and it's like that's where like you've got the light and the dark hanging out together.
Yeah. Yeah, the cover art's beautiful. It's actually based on a photograph that was taken by Neil Zolozauer. And the prayer pose was my idea. In fact, it's funny. We went into the photo session and planned all these different poses, and not that one. And my producer was there as well. And I said to the guys, you know what? This may seem goofy, but just humor me. And would you mind just taking a couple of shots like this? And Neil just fired off the camera the way he magically does. And I just stood there in a prayer pose, and that's basically how it came to be. And as far as the concept is concerned, I'm basically praying in hell,
Been there.
wondering, wondering if I'm evil enough to really be down there, even though those demon boys are enticing me with my favorite guitar that you see there in the fire. That's basically the concept of the record, and the Demon Boys certainly represent my antidote, which is, dealing what I dealt with my husband. Obviously, I turned to other men, and so they represent those guys, and they're trying to keep me in this,
in the box,
real hot place. And
I'm wondering,
am I evil enough to stay down there?
Wow. Man, but this is
that's intense.
So how many women fans do you have versus men, do you think?
It's very interesting because, we all have these websites and you can get analytics and statistics and things like that. And I was really surprised. I thought that the majority would be male, but and the majority is male. However, I thought it would be a much greater divide. But really, you're looking at probably about 60-40, 60 being men and 40% women.
Yeah.
But, okay,
I can see that.
How do they know who's a male and who's a female?
That's the scary thing. And that's what they were trying to ask Mark Zuckerberg the other day. Because,
I know, because, seriously.
Well, you can with him more than, because it's like whoever makes their profile, and then there's always going to be the margin of BS with that. But when it comes to website analytics, they're going by people's computers and who registers the computer. And that could be a guy and a woman, and, it's different, or it could be a phone. So it's so crazy. But it's interesting to me because I think when you look at the kind of music you're doing, I've always seen women at metal concerts like big time. Like, even you look at Guns N' Roses, I don't even know to classify them that way, but women were huge as their audience. It was like and so it's really interesting to me. I think that when you look at women get like there's this women won't listen to this kind of music thing. There's that kind of like
there's all kinds
you know what I mean? People
really
there's
silly
that
thought process that are out there
but
about
women
who
like
will
to
do
rock
what,
just as hard as men. So
they absolutely
have you
do.
found
There's
that
tons of ladies out there that love it.
Yeah. And I'm going, and you have that quality where everyone can enjoy it. I think all ages, to me, when I listen to it, I'm like, anybody that likes really good rock is going to listen to this. Period. It's like it's just really good music. I don't. Would you put yourself in like this is metal or not? I mean,
yeah, because when I listen to it, I just say this is kick-ass rock.
I know.
Thank you so much for saying that, because I'm always asked to categorize my music. I can't even sell it without categorizing it on iTunes, for example. And it's so hard for me to decide where to put it. Now, I definitely consider it to be metal because I'm a child of the 80s, that, the whole 80s metal scene and all of that. So, it definitely fits within those standards, even though it's also very contemporary sounding as well. It's, I definitely put a modern twist on it. But I would call it, if I had to categorize it, I would call it melodic metal.
Mm.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, because your melodies are strong. You're and just even the words. I mean, it's just that's interesting. So we could have melodic metal. Is that a category? Did you make your own category?
Yeah, that's
like
cool. I like it.
I mean, I just carved it out myself.
She's
got
Eminem.
on iTunes and things like that, they ask you to categorize it, and so you put it under heavy metal.
Yeah.
And then they ask you to have a secondary genre, for example. And so you would say maybe hard rock or just metal by itself,
Yeah.
But it's definitely, as far as I'm concerned, it's as metal as any metal I've ever listened to. If you consider, bands like Dio and Ozzy to be metal, well, then I'm as metal as they are.
Exactly.
It's interesting with the category thing because, I mean, first of all, when people ask you to categorize yourself, they give you a list to choose from, which is really pretty lame most of the time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's like, really?
We have it here on radio shows of
it's like,
how
really?
you have to, put your there's no metal, you're rock, and you're that or classical, and, who knows what to do with New Age.
And who knows, like...
But it's like you have these little categories on everything we do, whether it's SoundCloud or it's bizarre when you look at how everybody's decided how the world must be, but that's their own platform and you have to do what they want. But
and I understand why you have to do it, because not everybody can look at everything all the time.
Right.
However, when you're using certain terms like, okay, I'm a couple days older than Lisa. Okay, but I do happen to look younger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
But if you say heavy metal to me, I don't exactly turn off.
No.
But it wouldn't be something I'm going to go search for.
Right.
But listening to your music, I would definitely buy it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, thank you.
And
well, that's why I can't stand the whole category thing. But unfortunately, we can't sell our music without it.
Well, we're a big blend. Do you know what it's like to be a variety?
People like, you're not specialized.
I know.
That's right. Because we like stuff.
So we had to have another magazine just for travel because people didn't understand. Like, hey, some people travel just to go to concerts.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've done that myself.
Oh well, I mean, come on, that's part of tourism and travel. It's like, no, now you need to explain that to all the little muckety mucks up there in their suits behind a screen. Sorry. Getting a little pissy about it all because we should be able to do what we want.
If I was going to write categories, I would put, okay, this is some badass rock. That's how I would categorize it. And then maybe you would have like, this is sweet if you want to go to bed music. And this is like really kind of.
You're badass rock.
No, but I'm just talking about how I'd name the category.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to that because have you heard Bang, the band Bang?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, so check them out because they connected with Ozzy Osbourne back in the day, like in the 70s, right? And they're basically known as the very first metal band before Ozzy. There was like a weird thing with that.
Really?
But then, and
before
when I
Motorhead?
listen to their music, you got to check out. You have to go on Facebook. It's Bang the Band.
Okay.
But anyway,
don't type in wow. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Boy, is that innuendo. Bang the Band. Gotta love that.
Early 70s. They played with Deep Purple and God, Ozzy, everybody. And they're you've got to read their memoir. It's a really good story, and they're playing again and everything. But this is right during Woodstock and everything. Here they emerge, and how they got their break was getting stoned and following a concert thing and going and auditioning and having the balls to do it, and just like going in through security and saying, no, we're auditioning, and the guy was like, well, you do it, and they ended up opening for the Faces and Rod Stewart and the Faces or something, and then Deep Purple, and they toured. It was when the touring circuit started happening. And people considered them like that was the beginning of heavy rock or metal music at that point. And that was the first American band doing it. And it's amazing, the story. So that's why because when we had them on the show and listened to them and listened to their music, it's like, seriously. And there's not that much video footage, unfortunately. But whatever you can see, go see it, because it's like when you listen to the guitar and I listen to you and I'm like, screw all the little boxes that people put up for musicians, because I wouldn't classify them that either, but it's all good.
But
it's all
good. This is all marketing, so how people can find you.
Okay, so I want to play Cringeworthy. And by the way, speaking of words, Cringeworthy, like that's a good. Who has that as a like Cringeworthy is good.
Word.
But you did make me look up feckless. Like now it's my word of the day. I've been walking around going, you feckless.
My nerdy vocabulary strikes again.
Feckless?
I'm a total nerd, and I've got quite the vocabulary. Yes, feckless lock.
I love
useless,
that.
Useless, without merit.
Yeah.
You piece of feckless lock.
Well, it's literal, actually.
Yeah, feckless.
It refers to a lock on a bridge, a love lock. Have you seen those in Europe? When you go to places like Amsterdam or Paris or places like that, and you see all the little locks that that lovers put on the bridge. There's a lock in Amsterdam with my name on it. That's feckless. And that one's an instrumental.
I love it. And listen, you've got your own too, like Gui-Tara rises. In other words, she's like, okay, I'm done with you all. Did that happen? I mean, that's it. Boys and girls.
Well, I mean, Gui-Tara rises is basically that's my personal theme song. That's basically, you know what? Here I am rising above all the crap I've had to deal with in my life. I'm telling everybody about it. I'm singing about it, and I'm playing about it, and I'll sing and I'll play these songs until I'm dead. And this is my rise. This is me rising up and doing it.
And for those who say we can't, you're so damn wrong.
We can.
Yeah.
Very wrong.
That's it. Okay, wait. We're going to do Cringeworthy now. But everyone, listen to her voice. I mean, and just the guitar playing. I mean, it's amazing. I love this. It was just like wow, and it's perfectly placed in the album as far as I'm concerned. It was right where it was just this. I don't know. Your album flows. I get so excited about new music, and I'm sorry I didn't know about you sooner, but I'm so glad I know about you now. And it's like I'm seeing more and more independent music come out, and women coming out with this just really rocking edge and vibe, and just rocking it 100% and beyond, and albums that are strong, like all the way through. And that's what I get excited about, that because there's also this whole singles market thing where people are just releasing singles, yet at the same time the people, I'm like your album, I understand you have to release singles and it's that whole thing, but this is an album, and I'm so glad people like you are out there doing albums so we can have an experience. So
it's a road trip.
Just saying, just saying.
That's exactly what I was wanting to give everyone was, my experience told through these songs. So, the whole album revolves around, the basic concepts of my relationships, and it's really meant to do that. So I'm really glad you perceived it that way. So thank you.
Totally. Very, very. I mean, I'm just thrilled. Everybody, we're going to play Cringeworthy again. Go get the album. It comes out Friday the 13th. Number one, that's just badass. Cool. Like, okay. So go get it. It's called Evil Enough, again, from Tara-Lynch. And go to tara-lynch.com, and you'll be able to get it everywhere online, iTunes, everywhere, Amazon, everything, right? It's all over.
iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and CD Baby as well. Yep.
That's it. Here it is, everyone. Cringeworthy. just heard Cringeworthy from the powerhouse Tara-Lynch, also known as Gui-Tara, and Cringeworthy is on her brand new debut album, Evil Enough, that releases Friday the 13th, April 13th, 2018. Go get it. Go to tara-lynch.com. And Tara, see that end part, that angelic part, right? That is, like, seriously. Like, where did you go to school for that? I didn't go.
I looked into my soul. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that. Wow, that's just, it's epic. Your whole album is epic. Like,
it
just
be
feels
in a
like
movie.
I know.
It could be like a soundtrack for a movie.
If you were gonna do like a duel, like, you know, the Crossroads movie, remember that? The duel at the end.
Oh yeah, of course I do. Are you kidding?
Oh.
I
know,
learned how
right?
to play that duel years ago.
Did you
play that part?
Oh, badass. See?
That's awesome.
See, I thought that was really cool that Ry Cooder even let that happen, and
yeah.
I mean, but look who he's playing with too. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, that I thought that was like, he always opens up the door to every genre, and I love him. I love Ry Cooder so much. But who would you duel with? Like, if you were in the Crossroads duel, who would you go against?
I mean, I would never duel against anybody because I don't believe in pitting guitars against one another. Everyone has their own unique style and flavor, and there's no way to compete. How do you put Van Gogh against Monet? How do you put Beethoven against Mozart? You just don't.
You don't compete. They perform.
To me, that's a language. It's talking back and forth.
And it goes, look at it this way. No, look at it from this way.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it from this way.
I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. They say, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the cliche term that goes around, and it's really true because, you know, you can perceive it one way, another person can perceive it another, and
absolutely,
you know, there's a certain group of folks out there. I love to refer to them as the arm folders, and they want to literally stand there with their arm folded. Their arms folded. They've had lessons galore, and they can do all of the acrobatics everybody does that you've seen all these guitarists do, and they think you suck unless you're doing all the same things, and that's why you'll never hear any of those same things on my record.
Yeah.
It's funny because people are like, some of the comments I get really make me laugh. I love when someone says, too much sweeping. There's literally maybe 3 sweeps on my entire record, and they're literally like 3-note sweeps. They're not even like a full sweep. And it's only in one direction. I don't even go back the other way, you know, more than like twice.
But now they've lost the whole point.
They didn't get it.
That they're not listening and hearing.
No, but
if you're
they go into criticize.
See, but every industry, everything has it. Like
that.
You know, we have a friend who's walked across the country, cycled the circumference, done the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific. I mean, all of that, right? Yeah. And we were talking about it because we're avid people of getting people outside and looking at nature and observing, right? And we were talking about a project we're working on. He's like, you know, there's this group of people that are different than the ones who really are trying, or, you know, maybe can even barely walk if they're going through something that, you know, they're learning to walk again or whatever it is on that level. And then you have your people who have done it all and are really like badasses in it. And then you have this group of like, I've done this now, now I'm just like,
the king and
we
queen
call them rash holes.
Oh,
it's our new word. It's like irrational,
whatever.
You know,
holes. Yeah.
But we call that, where it's become this thing where they're not actually part of the experience anymore. Whereas the people who've done the big stuff, they've done the experience, so they're like these really cool people. And then the people who are just starting out are really cool because they're excited. But there's this little segment of people that become that, where it's technical and not listening and hearing and getting it and enjoying and savoring, you know.
Exactly. So, you know, my open letter to all the arm folders out there, if you're looking just to take notes on tips and tricks in shredding, you're at the wrong show. You know, if you think that what I'm doing is great, you like listening to it, and the reason why you're there is because you listen to it and you like what you hear, then fantastic. But if you're going there for one reason only, which is to say, gee, what can she do? and decide whether or not that person sucks because they didn't do enough sweeping or tapping or any of these acrobatics a lot of people like to do. And I'm not knocking any of that, believe me. Some of my favorite players use those techniques, believe me.
Yeah.
But I think when they're overused and they're constantly copied, I remember the first people to use those techniques. I remember people like Robert Fripp. Okay? So, we're talking King Crimson a long time ago, and he was doing a lot of that tapping stuff before anybody. So, look, I remember who did it first, and everybody else that came after them was inspired, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But then that inspires everybody else, and then you have generations of people just copying each other. So when I decided to do this, I just played from the heart. I have my own style. You can compare me to anybody until you're blue in the face. Go ahead. But I've never heard an album like mine.
Don't be feckless.
Yeah, don't be feckless.
It's exactly the same in the art world. Having, painting, I'm a painter, and I've done a million art shows for other people and my own stuff as well. And then we had this in the art world, we call them gnips. And it's like, get your goddamn nose out of my painting, because a person who wants to look at a painting doesn't look at it with their nose 2 inches from the painting. That's an artist trying to copy your brush strokes.
Yeah,
but a person who stands back takes in the whole painting. So we could always tell. We called them gnips because it got the goddamn nose in the painting. And then we know they're trying to copy a brush stroke, or whatever, and it's so funny. It's like,
wow.
Well, and if you're going to, you can be inspired by, be curious about, but if you're going to just copy somebody else, I mean, we already got
what's the
copy
point
machines
in that?
for that.
That's not art.
What's the point in that? Look, when I was a teenager, I learned all those things. I watched everybody play live, and I thought, wow, that's cool. And I went home and tried it because that's what you do.
Yeah,
but when I sat down to write my own music, I didn't then build that stuff into it.
Right.
I just did what came out naturally.
Yeah.
And
well, that's why
flows. It doesn't sound like everybody else out there.
Yeah. No, because I was like, wow, this is cool. When I first heard it, I was like, okay, because to me, I just listen, and it's like, how does it grab you? It's like the first page of a book, right? And then you go through it a little further, like I'm like, damn, man, this woman wails. I mean, like 100% full. There's just like there's no holding back. It's very real, and that's why I said I think this is just such a cool album because it flows, but it's like this. It's energetic. So what's interesting to me, talk about the recording process versus being up on stage, because I've seen you. I mean, like, damn, you've got the energy, but to bring it to an album, I mean, is that how you are? You just, no matter what, where who cares about how it's recorded, right? It's about just having that energy.
Well, that's the thing. When I record versus play, it's all got to be the same for me. I don't have a recording Tara versus a live show Tara. It's basically the same. The only difference is I can't clone myself. And in the recording process, I play all of the guitars on the album, every single guitar. So obviously there's a lot of overdubbing going on because I can't split myself, 3 ways. So I have to keep playing the same thing over and over again. And so no, I'm not jumping around the room. I'm pretty much sitting down in the studio when I record, and I appear to be a lot more relaxed, but my playing still has the same energy as you're going to see on the stage. There won't be a difference.
No, I mean, to me, it's like this is amazing, and you worked with a lot of people, I mean, that are cool, like they've been around the block. And now, do you know all of these guys from your career?
Yeah.
Have you played with them before on stage?
No, they're really no, they're all personal friends, believe it or not. And I've just been kind of hovering in the background, writing music all the time, playing for years, and these are all friends of mine. And I had one over for barbecue, for example, and my friend Tony, and I said, listen, I'm actually going to do this now. I'm going to make a record, but I've got to be the only guitarist on it because Tony McAlpine is a monster guitarist. He is, one of the greatest musicians I've ever witnessed in my entire life. And but he's also an incredible pianist. He was trained as a concert pianist as a child, and he plays piano / keys, of course, as well as he plays the guitar, if not better. I don't even know. I mean, he's just top at both. So I said, how about playing keys on my record? And out of love, he said absolutely. And so that's how Tony came to be on my album, and he's got a couple of amazing, blazing keyboard solos, one in Exit the Warrior and the other one is in a song called Enigmatic, both of which are instrumentals, which is really more like what he does in his career. He has a lot of instrumental albums, and so it was definitely, songs that were in his wheelhouse. And on that note, that's how I basically cast my record. I thought about it, and I thought, okay, so I wrote this song. Whose style and whose delivery would do the most justice to my track? And so I literally cast the record that way. And so as far as those two instrumentals are concerned, I called up my friend Glenn Sobel, and I said, so I'm doing this record, and I have a couple of instrumentals, and you would be perfect, your style, your flair, for what I wrote. And he killed it. I mean, he does a beautiful job. Glenn plays with Alice Cooper every day. I mean, that's his main job.
It's
for him to take the time out to record this couple of tracks for me was magnificent. On the rest of the record is Vinny Appice, and I'll just go on record right now saying that he is my favorite drummer of all time. Always has been. Nobody has a swing like he does. He's got his own delivery, unlike anybody else. It's powerful, and it's a feel, it's a vibe that is extraordinary, and nobody could have done a more perfectly fitting job on the rest of those tracks than Vinny. So that's how I asked him to do that, and everybody else the same way. Is just basically, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to take part in it? And I never heard no from anybody.
That's awesome. Cool. Now, you're going to tour with the album?
Absolutely. We're working on tour dates right now.
Cool.
We're in the process of that as we speak.
Very, very cool.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I want to, this is could completely out in left field, but then that's how we roll over here. If I was to ask you what animal you think you are, spirit-wise,
what is my spirit animal?
Yeah. What animal comes to mind?
I'm a wolf. You? I guess I'd be a wolf because I'm soft, cuddly, but I'm also tough as nails. And if you mess with me, you're not going to like the result.
Wow.
Yeah, don't mess with her.
See, now I had a whole different scenario going on. That's why I asked, because my first thing was you're a chameleon who knows how to shift in shape when you need to. But then the other one was like a kangaroo, not physically. We're not talking about looks here, so don't, But you got something else in your pocket all the time.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
You've got tricks.
I've got tricks. Well, that's funny. Yep. I mean, that's interesting. Interesting, because I consider myself to be a what you see is what you get person. But not really. I guess what you're saying is I don't necessarily look the part because I don't wear the heavy metal uniform. I don't have tattoos everywhere or piercings or
No, you've always got another tool in your belt.
You've got more dimension.
Then what? Yeah. In other words, you.
It's just interesting because
you have a lot more cards to play.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot more to me than just Again, to me that's categorizing yourself. When you walk around and you're basically, I'm not saying I don't dress like a rocker chick because of course I have clothes like that, but not, I don't wear what I call the uniform, so to speak. Everybody's all tatted out, pierced out, and all that, and I love that. I love seeing it. I embrace it. I think it's wonderful. I love looking at everybody's different tattoos and stuff like that. I'm always asked, do you have any tattoos and are you getting any? And my answer is I don't have any at this time. I don't plan on it. I've thought about it, but it's not something I feel like I have to do just to, fit into this genre of music or anything like that. I'm also just a woman, and I may not always want to be wearing that. I don't need to advertise. I guess what I'm saying is this. I don't need to advertise, hey, everybody, I'm a rock star. This is what I do everywhere I go. I don't need to wear it like a banner on my head.
You're a woman of integrity. Because your album said that. That's the first thing I noticed was this is an integristic album, if that's a word. Because it is. I mean, you have pure integrity, and I think that's art. When someone has integrity, whether you like it or not, it's still integrity, and that's important. And when people lose sight of that in music and art and in life, screw it. You need to come back to wherever. You need to go back to the rock. And and so everybody has their ways of doing things. Some people do tattoos, and they're cool to look at. I find that
totally.
But hell no. Hell no.
I'm not even opposed to getting one. I've thought about it because there's some things I'd like to do.
But skin. I don't want saggy
what
skin.
What happens when you get like 80, 90
That's why I
years
haven't
old?
done it. Thank you.
I mean, the San Francisco Bridge could collapse.
No. I mean, especially not the Numbies either. I've seen the thingies that
could be like
bingo wings start stretching down. No. But I mean, and
that's the thing. I plan on living a nice long life. Yeah. And I plan on getting really nice and old. I want to be guitar granny, okay?
I want to see you when you're like
But I don't want my tattoos hitting the floor.
In a rocking chair. I want to see you in a rocking chair with a guitar and just like, here comes some kids. You're like, listen, kids, watch this, little sons of guns.
I mean, look, if I need them to put one of those Hannibal Lecter things behind me to hold me up, I will. But you won't be seeing me in a rocking chair, honey. Never.
I love that. I love it. That's it. She's like, screw you on that.
They can put one of those sticks up my back and put me on a stand like they do with figurines before I'm going to allow that to happen.
I love that. You're a little badass. You really are. And just, I love the fact. I love your smile, that you smile so much, and yet here's this album, Evil Enough. And I think that's so cool. And I just really respect your work and your music. Your music, just enjoyed listening. And I'm like, damn. You will get a speeding ticket. I talk about this all the time. Music that gives you speeding tickets, you will get one. But don't.
Right. Take it from me, guys. I've had plenty.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know. And it's like, damn,
you
get pissed because they stop you because you're listening.
But it's more fun than a parking ticket.
Yeah.
Parking tickets are just lame.
Yeah,
they are.
Speeding.
Speeding is like,
because the music, you can do that. So everybody, the album is out Friday the 13th, so April the 13th, 2018. Go to tara-lynch.com. Now, do you like Tara or Tara?
Tara.
Oh, wow.
Tara.
See, now you're going you're going back to the mansion in the South. Tara.
Well, it's kind of like this. I'm from New York, and my name is actually pronounced Tara, but nobody can say Tara unless they're from New York. I usually get Tara, like tear a piece of paper in half, and that drives me insane. So out here in LA, everybody wants to say Tara, and I've lived here for, almost 30 years, and so I basically go by Tara, and it's stuck, and that's it. And it's, Gui-Tara, it all works.
Gui-Tara, I like Gui-Tara.
I like that.
They call me that anyway, no matter what.
I'm like that with Lisa. When we lived in South Africa, they'd call me Lisa. And I for some reason, it really pissed me off. Or Liza. Liza or Lisa. And I'm like, hey, Lisa, are you going to go to the market? No.
The market system.
No, don't start me. Anyway, so everybody, tara-lynch.com is the website. Go get Evil Enough. And everybody, don't forget, Big Blend Radio airs Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Fridays and Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And for more music news and interviews, go to blendradioandtv.com. You'll also find our Big Blend Radio schedule there, too. Sign up for our newsletter. It's the best way. And you'll see Tara in our... Tara, get it right.
Tara.
in our Big Blend Radio and TV magazine coming out May, our May-June issue, because, like, hey, we got a feature in there.
Fantastic.
Heck yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, thank you for joining us and spending time, and for an awesome album, and I think an inspiration for women around the world to get up and pick up their axe and rock. Honestly, before you go, one thing for a young girl sitting there going, man, I love heavy metal, I love rock, and I'm going to get out there and be a guitarist, because it still feels like a male-dominated world for a lot of women. So what would you say to them?
I would say do it.
Get out there and do it.
Get up and do it. Don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anyone tell you it's a boys' club, because it's not. It never was. And there's always been women that broke through. Joan Jett. Anybody remember her? Do you know how many record companies turned her down?
I love rock and roll.
Yeah, that song. They all said it was crap. 13 record companies turned her down. She said, you know what, the hell with this. I'm going to put it out on my own label. And she did. And she did beautifully. And I really applaud that. So I say to any young girl out there that wants to do this, no one can stop you if you have the ambition, the drive, and the talent. Go. Do it.
Go for it.
Get her done.
That's it.
Yep.
I mean, you know.
Otherwise, what are you here for? If you know that that's who you are, or even think it is, even if you're, not 100% sure, still try, because that's how you're going to find out, right?
Exactly. And you don't know until you try. Exactly.
Exactly. And obstacles are just a test. And every time you surpass it, you get a little bit better, a little bit better,
and
a little
stronger.
bit better. And then you got that.
Just remember, kids,
with
every
me.
winner was once a beginner.
Ooh,
I
love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. And see, and then during the process, you can be evil enough.
That's right.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
That's right. And by the way, when people say, I've never heard of her or him or whatever it is, guess what? No one ever heard of Metallica either. No one ever heard of Megadeth either. No one ever heard of Ozzy either until they got started and got going. Everyone was new once as well.
Well,
so it doesn't mean we're not great.
It's not only that. Just because you haven't heard of something doesn't mean the artist is bad. It means you just don't know anything.
Exactly. It only means we're new, but we can have just as much genius going on. We're just new. That's it.
Exactly. And just because you haven't heard of, like, a certain kind of plant doesn't mean the plant's no good.
Thank God for new, though. To me, that I get excited about it every time I see something new. That is life to me, because every time you see something new and different and unique, and it's like why I like walking and looking at plants and birds and animals and stuff, it's new. It's like this. I'm going to learn something new every single day by being in nature, by listening to music, by doing what we do.
Exactly.
This is it right now. This conversation? This is new. We didn't know each other beforehand.
Yep.
It was new to both of us, and here we are. Well, cheers to you. You rock. Everybody, we're going to play Unbreakable again off of the album Evil Enough, and go get it. Friday the 13th. It's out, and by Tara-Lynch. Just go to tara-lynch.com. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a true joy.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
You too.